Hello everyone, this is your host Vaibhav. Welcome all of you to today's session of Daily Stock, in which we are going to talk about one of the favorite company of the people across the world. It offers entertainment for billions of people from around 190 countries in the world, and it has revolutionized the TV viewing experience earlier. If you go back, say, 10 to 15 years back in time, you might remember that there was fixed broadcasting. There was nothing you can do about the programming apart from changing the channels. The timing for the program was fixed and the schedule was there. And if you didn't really like the program, maybe you could have switched the channel. So that was about it. But now, fast forward to today, and here we have plethora of services offered by the subscription platforms like Netflix. Netflix is the pioneer. It started this subscription trend with the streaming services, and now you can stream the movie, the series, the games, the sports, any programming content you like at any moment in time of your choice. And you can stream directly. All you have to do is pay the required subscription fee, and there you have the content of your choice available at your fingertips. And Netflix to a large extent made that possible, and taking inspiration from his success, many other platforms have also come on the horizon while finding mixed success. Now, in today's session, we will see what kind of earnings there have been for the first quarter of 2024 for the Netflix. If we look at its stock price trajectory over last couple of quarters, it has been steadily upward. Even in today's trading session, it is trying to gain ground, and that has been the case for a while now. It has been steadily inching higher and higher, and I feel that unless there is any significant change, we are likely to see the Netflix continuing to grow in its subscription base, grow its revenues, grow its net profit, and of course, that is going to result in the growth in its market capitalization. That means simply that if you go for the purchase of its stock, its shares, in course of time, you are likely to gain for your investment is likely to appreciate in value. But of course, nothing is certain in life. A lot of things can go wrong, and that is where the analysis comes into picture. We have to figure out the opportunities where even if we happen to be on the wrong side of the prediction, the projections, we don't want to lose too much money. Of course, we are likely to lose money, but the extent of it can be controlled to some extent, and that is what we are trying to do in today's trading session. So, this session is going to be divided in mainly two parts. First, we will take a take a look on its quarterly report, the SEC filing for the first quarter of fiscal year 2024. We will also take into account its forward guidance for the second quarter of fiscal year 2024, and afterwards we will jump on to the trajectory of its share price over different time horizons, the short term, the medium term, the long term. And using these varied data points, we will try to create a picture. We will try to gain clarity on what we can do, what is the likely course of action, which is going to provide us with favorable odds for profiting from the upcoming share price moves in the Netflix. So first thing first, we head to now the earnings report. Here we have the consolidated statement of operations. In it, you can see that there has been growth in the revenues Now, for the first quarter, we had the revenues of US dollar 9.37 billion, which is a phenomenal increase in comparison to the first quarter of fiscal year 2023. So there has been around 15 percentage point growth in the revenue, and in line with the growth in revenue, there has also been increase in the expenses, but still the percentage growth in the revenue is outpacing the growth in expenses, and that is resulting in the better margin for the shareholders. You can see that the revenues went up by US dollar 1.2 billion, around that number. But if we look at the expenses, it didn't really rise that much. There was an increase in the expenses, but still we had this growth in the net income coming at US dollar 1 billion. So now for the last quarter, the shareholders have seen that the Netflix has earned them the profit of US dollar 2.33 billion in comparison to the earlier profit of US dollar 1.3 billion. So that's a remarkable growth in the net income figures. I think in percentage terms, it will translate somewhere to 70 to 80 percentage point, and it is even better than the expectation because the expectation were of a reading close to the US dollar 2 billion mark. But here, the Netflix has delivered results which are a lot better than the expectations, the consensus estimate. The EPS has resultantly gone up to cross the $5 mark. For the last quarter, it came in at US dollar 5.4 basic, and if we consider diluted EPS, then it amounted to US dollar 5.28, which is significantly higher in comparison to below US dollar 3 per share EPS, the earning per share. Now, if we have to see its cash flow statement to figure out how the company generated cash and where it was used, we have to consider these three key heads for the cash flows. There was a net cash inflow of US dollar 2.2 billion from the operating activities, which is just little above the prior quarter's operating cash inflow of US dollar 2.17 billion. Of it, there was spending, there was cash outflow for the investing activity of US dollar 75 million. And then came the turn of the financing cash flow, and here the net cash used, that is the cash outflow because of the financing activity, amounted to US dollar 2.13 billion. So whatever cash has been generated by the operating activity, I think almost identical number is there for the cash outflow of the financing activity. Here there was spending of US dollar 2 billion for the repurchase of common stock, and that is the single biggest item for the cash outflow. Along with that, there was also repayment of debt. So the company's debt has gone down by 400 million, and the proceeds from the from the issuance of common stock amounted to US dollar 268.88 million. So these these three key items have shaped the cash outflow, and as a result of that, the company's cash pile, the cash at hand, cash and cash equivalents at hand, have declined by around 91 million to US dollar 7.026 billion. from the 7.11 million earlier a year back. All in all, this points to the growth in the company's ability to gain ground, to gain market share, to gain revenues, and as a result of that, the shareholders are gaining in value. Their assets, the shares, their shareholding is gaining in its valuation, and also there is more for everyone in terms of the rising tide lifts all boats. So this kind of phenomena is generating value for all the stakeholders, the employees, the shareholders, the management, and related entities. Now we are going to turn our gaze to the technical side of the story. This is the short-term trajectory of the Netflix in which we are using hourly as the candle period time frame. And if we consider the share price trajectory for this month, since the start of the month, the Netflix has gained a lot in its valuation. It was trading close to 550 mark. Now it is there at around 613, 615. So that amounts to little over 10 percentage point growth in the span of 15 days, which is phenomenal to say the least. Its earnings have been quite solid, and that has resulted in this growth. Earlier, there was a sharp decline, there was gap down, and afterward it went into a consolidation phase where it spent more than a week in consolidation closer to this 550 mark. But once it found support, it started to gain ground, and there has been no looking back. It is not really far off from the prior swing highs established around 630, 640, and in course of time I am expecting it to breach the 640 mark and rise above it. So for any short-term trading opportunity, I think the better thing to do is to keep looking for the opportunity to go long. So adopting a buy on dips approach is going to be favorable for the outcome. If you are looking for newer trading opportunity, I think over next couple of sessions, pay attention to the price trajectory, and if it doesn't really decline much from the current levels, then of course you can go about a long trade with the expectation of the rise towards 650 at least, if not more. For the medium term, we will change the candlestick period to hourly. So there is this sharp dip from 630 to 540, and after consolidation, we saw that the momentum changed. It started to recover, and now it is not really far off from the its immediate swing high, with the possibility of it breaching and rising on the higher side. So, with that possibility in mind, I feel adopting a buy and dips approach is going to be a prudent stance. But since it has already shown consolidation after declining sharply towards 540, I am of the view that we will have to give it some time, at least a couple of weeks or even more than that, for it to again go into a next correction phase, and then after due consolidation, depending on its share price trajectory, whether it has made a higher swing high and followed it with higher swing low or not. So keeping all those factors in mind, we can indeed go for a newer trade, which is going to be more likely on the long side rather than on short sell. So watch out for the price trajectory over the next few weeks. If there is a formation of a new swing high above 640, and then in the next correction if it doesn't really decline below the 540 mark, thus forming a higher high and higher low formation. I think that we can indeed take our chances and go for a newer trade with the expectation of further rise in course of time. So we can keep looking for the opportunity to go long in the medium term as well. Now changing the horizon to long term using the weekly as the candlestick time period. So if we consider the share price trajectory for the last couple of quarters, last couple of years, you will see that it has been steadily upward since making this low of around 160. The Netflix has stabilized and then slowly and steadily continued to rise. It is not gaining too much valuation in a very short span, rather, it is going in a slow and steady manner. There is rise, then it goes into a correction phase followed by extended consolidation, and then again it starts to slowly rise. So that pattern is repeating for a while now, and unless there is any significant change in its trajectory of growth in revenues and the profit, I don't really feel we have to suspect any change in its share price trajectory as well. So watch out for the price action over the next few months, and if there is a further correction from the current levels, maybe towards 500 or even below that, and if it holds above the prior swing low of 340, 350, I feel we can indeed go for the long trade from the long term view as well. So right now, since it is already sitting at the very top, it is not really far off from the very top level. I feel we will have to take a cautious view and give it more time, and in course of time we can expect it to correct somewhat, go into a corrective phase followed by the new consolidation, and in this process, if it continues to make higher high and higher low, we can feel confident about going for the long trade from the long term view as well. So that warrants certain patience on our part, and then in course of time we are likely to get the opportunity to invest from the long term as well. So that's it from my side for today's session of Daily Stock, in which we considered the share price trajectory for the Netflix, which is seeing the steady rise in its subscriber base, in its revenues, and in its stock price performance. So there is further scope for the further growth, and we indeed want to gain from that possibility. And I have tried to outline the key factors to keep in mind while going for the opportunities to trade and invest in the Netflix. Now it's time for me to say goodbye for the day. I will be back tomorrow with an equally interesting stock to work with. So do come back. See you next time around. And if you have found the session informative and useful for your trading and investment purpose, do subscribe to the channel for equally interesting videos coming every day. See you next time around. Till then, goodbye.